It's every basketball player's goal to be the go-to guy on their basketball team. There are hundreds of YouTube channels dedicated to the topic. Books have been written, movies have been made, heck, wars have even been fought. Yeah, the great Triple Threat War of 1773. Look it up. But yeah, literally the most asked question I've gotten since I made this channel is, how do I become an elite scorer? How do I score 80 points in a game? Because if you score in the 80s, you're gonna get the ladies. Ooh, that's hot. With this being the most asked question in all of basketball, I can understand why so many YouTube channels and coaches and online trainers try to sell you the elusive secret to being an elite scorer and how simple and easy it is. I'm just gonna do what I always do, and that's crush your hopes and dreams and tell you that that shit is hard. The good news is it's not impossible. Success leaves clues, and we can break down common habits that a lot of elite scorers have. Today we're going to take a look at 5 traits that most elite scorers have so that we can use those skills for our own. So let's fast track you to becoming an elite scorer, or a slightly better scorer. Before we do this, just know that if you're not physically more dominant than everyone that you play with, then replicating elite scoring moves that you watch the most athletic players in the world do, it's most likely not going to be applicable to your game. This is exactly why imitating NBA players and NBA moves out of context can be extremely detrimental to your training. You need to master the fundamentals of shooting, driving, and basically scoring in very simple and efficient ways first.
But Shaq couldn't shoot, and he was a dominant scorer.
Stop doing that. Shaq can get away with little to no footwork fundamentals because he's the most physically dominant player of all time. Honestly, it's the same for most NBA players. They typically have some elite athleticism or gift that allows them to just assert themselves over their defender. Most of you at home, you probably don't have that yet, especially if you're a younger player. That's why mastering fundamental and efficient ways to score should be the first thing that you think about, because it's directly in your control. We've spoken about this in depth in a previous video, so go check that out. But basically, shooting the ball at a high rate while you're left open is a must in today's game. Second, you got to be able to attack a closeout at a high efficiency also. If you can do these 2 things, then half the battle is already over. Now, time to get your calculators out. Let's say you get left open twice from the 3 and you make 1 of 2 of those. Then, I don't know, you attacked 7 closeouts throughout the game, and of those 7 closeouts, you scored 3 layups. Surely you're gonna get a free throw off of an and one or some random foul throughout the game. If my calculations are correct, you've got 10 points.
But I want to be elite. I don't just want to average 10 points.
Whoa, Timmy. We're just getting started. This is where we get into the mind of an elite scorer, and we see what separates them from the lowly, fraudulent 10-point per game guys. No offense.
Some taken.
The first thing I notice about elite scorers is their understanding of positioning. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James are obviously the first ones that come to mind, but basically elite scorers can get to whichever spot on the floor that they want to that's going to give them the most options to score the most efficient points possible. This is extremely important, and it's most likely the next step that you need to take after averaging around 10 points per game. Once you begin having a little bit of success, teams are going to start to take notice, and they'll probably change the way that they defend you. This might be not helping as much and giving you as many closeouts. Maybe they begin face guarding you. Maybe they start to put their best defender on you. Or maybe they just begin to design their whole defensive scheme around your play. Either way, this is the hurdle that I see so many players get stuck at in their careers. You finally string together a few good games, and then wham, the defense just puts the clamps on you and you start thinking you're in a shooting slump. Don't worry, I've been there. To combat this, you have to understand how to start utilizing positioning to your advantage. This is gonna help you get open easier, generate easy baskets, and it's gonna conserve your energy throughout the game. You can start anticipating the ball movement of your team and begin walking your opponent down to a specific spot on the floor. Then, as the ball is being swung back around, you can separate from your defender and catch it much closer to the basket than you would if you were jumping back and forth at the 3-point line. Same goes for an inbounds play. Rather than bouncing bouncing back and forth trying to lose your defender. You can instead just get there early before the referee even hands the ball to your team. Get to the spot you want to be in, be big, lean on your defender a bit just to create that space and start your position battle earlier. This is still extremely exhausting to do throughout an entire game, but I promise you it beats trying to out-sprint the defense every single time. Point number 2 is always be trying to score. I remember watching an interview with Kobe Bryant where he said, "I want to be a scoring threat at all times. As soon as I step on the court, I want them to know they have to guard me no matter where I'm at." Yeah, for whatever reason, that just really resonated with younger, more fit and in shape me. It made me understand that to be an elite scorer, I have to be able to get a defensive rebound and then instantly push the ball in transition and get a layup. I knew that I needed to play off of ball screens effectively. I knew I needed to be able to post up, to finish in traffic, be able to run a pick and roll or a pick and pop, drive and kick, score off of defensive stops, and lastly, be able to score in the mid-range.
Woohoo! He did it, guys. He said the name of the channel. Yay!
Go him, I'm so proud, wow.
Basically, you need to think about always being a scoring threat and making the other teams think about you throughout the entire game. That doesn't mean shoot the ball every single time, but it does mean if you get a rebound, you need to take off and sprint like you're trying to get a layup. This can make it extremely difficult for the defense to set up. If other teams know that you're always aggressive and always looking to score, you can really hold the defense and occupy their attention, which can help your teammates get far easier shots than they normally would. Which leads us directly to point number 3. Always utilize your teammates and praise their success. Like we just mentioned, if you're always aggressive and defenses always have to game plan against you, you need to be getting your teammates involved. If you can set a good back screen and get one of your teammates an easy layup, especially if the defense isn't helping off of you, then you can really throw a wrench in the defense's game plan. I mean, nobody wants to give up open layups. Right, James Harden? This means you're going to need to build up your teammates' confidence, especially in practice. Instead of driving to score all the time, especially if it's easy for you, you should be looking to kick the ball out to your teammates to give them open shots. And whether they make it or miss it, you need to encourage them to keep shooting the ball. Nothing feels worse as a basketball player when your best player kicks the ball out to you and you miss a shot, and then they throw a tantrum and complain and throw a fit on the court. People miss shots, especially if they're not as good as you. But by you giving them confidence, I promise you they're going to shoot at a higher rate than if you have poor body language and you're not a good leader. Your choice. And though you may not need them to make shots to win right now, I promise you that if you play against a really good defensive team, you are 100% going to need to utilize your teammates. Additionally, there were times where I'd be on a fast break and I would always pass the ball off to my teammates so that they could get the easy layup because I knew that I could go get my shot off whenever I wanted to. For me, it wouldn't have been a big deal, but for them, I knew how important those 2 points were. So be a screener, build confidence and encourage guys, and basically just be a good teammate. Now, point 4, you gotta be relentless. This one's an actual cheat code in games. If someone plays good defense on you, you shouldn't bail them out and just take a tough contested shot. Instead, you should just kick the ball out or keep your dribble alive to live to fight another day. So shooting the first available look isn't a way to score at a high efficient rate at all. Depending on the league you play in, you likely have a 30-second shot clock or no shot clock at all. That means taking the first available look every time is not a very efficient way to score. I always say to players, if you make a move and it doesn't work, don't force up a shot. Just say, good defense and come guard me again. When you watch a player like Steph Curry, you can see how he's able to generate baskets even though he lacks the athleticism typically required to be so dominant in the top league in the world. He rarely comes down the court and just jacks up a quick 3, but he's usually making the defense guard 3 or 4 actions before he finally decides on the look he wants. Too often, I see good players use their go-to move and then just force up whatever shot they get. Those players haven't yet learned the relentless attitude that they need to succeed, and they're likely letting the defense off the hook by not having to guard them multiple times. Nikola Jokic is another master at this. Even though he's shooting nearly 50% from 3 this season, he makes sure the defense is always off balance by having to respect it. This allows him to get better positioning, to get higher percentage shots close to the basket for himself, or to collapse the defense for an easy open layup or 3 for his teammates. Then, if the defense guards this and somehow shuts all of it down, he's still more than capable of hitting a tough one-on-one mid-range shot or a three-pointer, although this isn't the first look he goes for. Be relentless and make them have to deal with you multiple times down the court every single trip. Amazing IQ and efficiency helps greatly with this. And look at that. It's a beautiful segue to point number 5. Playing the game within a game. I see way too many hoopers overworking and burning themselves out when they should really be trying to control the game, all the while conserving energy. That way you always have more in the tank at the end of a game. That doesn't mean you play lazily. It just simply means pick your spots with intention. For example, if you're the best player on the team, the opposition is likely going to put their best defender on you. Their only job is to wear you down and make your job extremely tough. Unfortunately, most players' egos get in the way and they accept the challenge to try and prove that I'm better than this guy.
I score ball and you no stop me.
I get it. Sometimes you just need to assert your dominance. But if you can instead set a screen and get a switch onto a weaker defender, why wouldn't you? Use every single advantage you have. If they put their best guard defender on you, go post him up. If they put their best big defender on you, you should stretch them out to the three-point line and rely on your speed. If they're willing to pick you up full court, you can just pass the ball off to someone else to bring up, or if you're crafty enough, you can bait them into some pretty cheap fouls. This part of the game is so underrated with elite players, and it's why it's so difficult to have simple, set game plans against them. There are times that I would get a switch onto a weaker defender and I'd go score on him, and then I'd point to the coach and look at their main defender and be like, he can't guard me, coach. Oftentimes that main defender would get really frustrated and his ego would get in the way, and then he would blow up defensive coverages later on because his whole job was just trying to stop me. Monkey brain. Similarly with Golden State and Cleveland back in the day in the finals, everyone was saying LeBron shouldn't have switched off of KD and that's why he hit the three-pointer. But if LeBron doesn't make that switch off of KD, then you leave the greatest three-point shooter of all time, Steph Curry, wide open. So lose-lose, these are elite players. Anyways, I always say it's easy to score 30 points, but it is extremely tough to average 30. Hopefully this video gives you a better understanding of what the most elite scorers in the world do so that you can start adding that to your game. As for me, I'm gonna go hang out with our paid Patreon members. Yeah, there's like a lot of them now. So, oh, and then Butch. Still the lone YouTube member, just chilling. Recently on the Patreon, I've been adding some one-on-one sessions and group sessions just for the paid members. That's not gonna be a trend. I'll still add free stuff every week, but yeah, free stuff and then some private group stuff that's gonna be mainly for coaches. But yeah, practice plan, like what we spoke about in this video, still free, weight plan, all that stuff. So tons of free stuff over there. Anyways, take care of yourself and I'll see you guys in the next one.